Banji Vakorja. Hi, everybody. Eimear Burke here. Welcome to another Fireside Chat. And this is Fireside Chat 185, brought to you by the Order of Bards, Ovates, and Druids. And as is customary, I start with a prayer for peace. Gomara Siakon ar fud na crinne. Gomara Siakon in our Jaili agus in our Jirha. Gonairi Lin len our Kit Garmaka. Gamich Buikas Jeef. Je Chuvdaka is spirit Chuvdaka. May peace prevail on earth. May peace prevail in our homes and in our countries. May our missions be accomplished. We thank you, guardian spirits and guardian deities. For peace. As the fever of day calms towards twilight, may all that is strained in us come to ease. We pray for all who suffered violence today, may an unexpected serenity surprise them. For those who risk their lives each day for peace, may their hearts glimpse providence at the heart of history. That those who make riches from violence and war might hear in their dreams the cries of the lost. That we might see through our fear of each other a new vision to heal our fatal attraction to aggression. That those who enjoy the privilege of peace might not forget their tormented brothers and sisters. That the wolf might lie down with the lamb. That our swords be beaten into ploughshares. And no hurt or harm be done anywhere along the Holy Mountain. And thanks to John O'Donoghue. So let me see where you all are. Who is here? Hi, Helen from South Wales, Per from Denmark, Pat from Ulster, Jules from Wyoming. Lovely to see you all. Plattsburgh, New York, Gisborne, New Zealand. Hi, Lloyd. Wonderful. And Hertfordshire. Calgary. What is it? All the regulars of the autumn skies and work avoidance of Calgary. Well, I hope this is a nice distraction for you. From Louth, lovely. Anyway, we are going to the US now. Blessings from Italy. Hi, Carla. Lovely to see you. And Switzerland, Crouch End, Wexford. Hi, Ruth. Lovely. Lovely to see you all. So we're going to the US today. And hi from Finland. There's more coming. Anyway, my guest is Ira Phoenix. Ira, you're so welcome.
Hi. Hello, everyone.
So you are in California. Whereabouts?
Yes. LA County. So pretty far south.
Okay. So I've never been. So what's your landscape like?
The landscape in LA is honestly one that I found very hard to embrace for a long time because it's so urban and it's not my preference. Northern California was where I lived first, and that to me is like paradise. But this LA, I have learned to embrace the nature that is here, and it's become a really precious and treasured area for me since I've had to work here and live here. But I wouldn't have chosen it, if that makes sense.
Okay, and just to say this, some of your wild druid friends are here. We'll be talking about that later. To just identify themselves. So where you are, so in Northern California, more landscape, more out in the wilds type of thing,
it's
and where you are.
Yeah, even in the mountains, it's pretty much a dry desert kind of mountain area. Although we have some beautiful forests in like the San Bernardino National Forest. I lived there for a while and that was gorgeous. So there are a lot of beautiful nature spots here, even especially on the coast as well. So I feel very fortunate to have the Pacific there. The Pacific Ocean is just gorgeous and nurturing. So
how far are you from the ocean?
About 6 miles.
Oh, that's not bad.
Yeah, it's about a 10-minute drive.
So if you're having a ceremony are you in a seed group or a grove, or have you got a group of
Virtually, yeah. I have not. I've been pretty shut in since the pandemic, honestly. I am going up north to meet with the Wild Druids for Samhain, and that'll be my first in-person ritual in several years. So I'm really excited.
Well done. So what kind of landscape is that? Is
Up
that
north,
the landscape you're talking? Yeah.
that's where
Forest?
the redwood forests are,
Mm.
and the redwoods are so special for so many reasons, but one reason is that they can make their own microclimate. So every day in the San Francisco Bay Area, for example, you'll see these white giant fingers of fog reaching over the hills, and
Okay.
it's such a magical, numinous landscape there with the forests. And then you also have the unspoiled coastline of Northern California. Gorgeous. The seals come in droves, and the sea lions and the cormorants nesting in the cliffs, the sides of the cliffs, and it's amazing.
Yeah, my brother lives in San Francisco, so I've been once to San Francisco, but never down to LA. And I saw, Monterey and heard the sea lions barking, and I've been to Yosemite in winter
Yeah.
in the snow.
Oh my goodness. Wow. So you
That
have
was that
seen a
was
lot of our best spots.
Yeah, it was beautiful. I'd love to see it in when it's greened. And yeah, I saw it,
Yes.
everything when it's white. It was just fascinating, just beautiful.
Yeah,
Anyway,
definitely
someday.
see it when it's green. It looks like, it looks like The Hobbit or the Lord of the Rings.
Okay, Middle Earth,
That
brilliant,
bright,
brilliant.
bright green. Yes.
Oh, lovely. So, what's your background like? Do you come from California or do you come from
No,
someplace else?
I actually was born and raised in New York City. Um,
Ah,
and yeah, so I was born and raised there, and my parents were in an abusive authoritarian cult. So
okay.
much like the authoritarian cult that has now taken our entire country hostage. So it was horrible to have that kind of childhood, but it has given me a lot of insight into what is behind the things that are going on here now. So hopefully my experiences can be useful in the current moment.
Wow. I've loads of questions are coming. How did you get out of that? How did you escape? Um,
Um, it took me 30 plus years to unfuck myself, and
Mhm.
I studied the Bible intensively because I was trying so hard to believe what I was taught,
Uh-huh.
and it just eventually things came to a crisis point. And actually, this is why I chose the name Phoenix. Phoenix, I can relate to a cycle of self-immolation and just, watching your entire life burn to the ground, and then later sifting through the ashes to find the jewels that are left behind and carry those with you, but nothing else forward. And that was my first Phoenix experience, getting out of fundamentalist Christianity, taking my kids with me, leaving their dad, leaving Christianity, coming out as a pagan. That was the first Phoenix experience. And about a year after that was when I found Obad, or Obad found me. So that was 2009.
I'm intrigued because so you went from fundamentalist Christianity into Druidry. That's a huge jump. I mean, I was raised a Catholic, and 9, it dawned on me that the God the nun was talking about didn't exist. But I was an agnostic for a long, long, long time, and looking, and then I found it much, much later. So I'm intrigued how you went from, you know,
Yeah. Well, it certainly helped that I had an Irish grandmother. All of my grandparents actually immigrated from the UK, from Wales and from Ireland and from the south of France. So they all came over after World War II, and my grandmother on my mother's side was from Ireland, and she was originally from Wales, but she told me all the Irish fairy tales and the Welsh folk tales as well. And so I had a lot of the mythology, and she always called me her fairy, and she would tell me fairy tales when I was in a bad mood, or, so it's, I think, largely thanks to her that I had this love of nature and sort of an animism from
Hmm.
childhood. I didn't know that's what it was called, but I always, spoke to animals, spoke to plants, spoke to trees, and my parents absolutely hated that. So they forbid my grandmother from saying certain things to me, but it stuck.
Beautiful. So, are you in touch with your family now?
I am not. I am estranged from my parents, and my life is a lot better without them in
Okay.
it. And that's a tragic thing to have to say, but it's true. And, I don't think that they were malicious. I do think they
Hmm.
did the best that they could, but their best was extremely toxic and dangerous.
Mm.
Um, it might help if I give a few illustrations of the kind of, and I've had, so many years of healing now, so it actually does not hurt to speak about childhood at this point. So I think that my experiences can be useful because of the moment that we're in. And I haven't been surprised yet by a single disgusting thing this regime is doing to this country. I've only been surprised by how fast they've been able to do it and with how little opposition, um, without almost any serious pushback. So I think most people are still asleep, and my experience gives me the advantage of some kind of foresight or insight. And the earliest thing I think that formed me was I was about 5 or 6 years old,
Hmm.
and I went to church with my dad. My mom stayed home with my little brother, and they were having a prayer meeting. And my dad took me into the sanctuary and put me in the middle of a circle with all of these church leaders and him. And they told me, if you really accept Jesus into your heart as your Lord and Savior, God will show that He accepts you as His child by filling you with the Holy Spirit. And when the Holy Spirit comes, He's going to manifest, this gift of speaking in tongues. So we're going to pray over you. And if you can't speak in tongues, it means you're not really saved. And that might be because you have a demon inside you, a demon of rebellion, because the Holy Spirit won't fill a dirty vessel that's full of sin. So then you'll need an exorcism. And I had seen exorcisms performed at the front of the church, and there was a lot of screaming and a lot of crying, and I really didn't want that to happen. So they started praying over me. They were all babbling, just praying in tongues, these nonsense syllables all strung together. And nothing happened to me. And I didn't feel anything. Nothing happened. Nothing came out. Um, so I started praying myself, and I was like, please, God, please accept me. Like, fill me with the Holy Spirit. I'll be a good girl. And still nothing happened. And finally, they started to express a little bit of suspicion, and that terrified me to the point that I just made it up. And I got so terrified, I just did what I saw. I imitated what they were doing, and I just strung all of these syllables together and went, blah, 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 there's a shorty, and whatever. And they all started, they were so happy and so proud of me, and they praised me, and they were like, oh, the Holy Spirit came to her. She's a true child of God. And they were very proud of me. My dad was so happy. He took me for an egg cream on the way home. But I knew that I lied. I knew that nothing really happened. And I just made it up. So I had this huge burden of guilt because I knew that I lied to them. And that meant that God didn't really accept me. And that meant that they were probably right. I did have a demon inside me. And it freaked me out pretty good. Um,
You were 5.
I was 5 or 6. Yeah, very small.
Well, just there's some comments here. Just to Jules, this. She put this in a while back. So beautifully said, and you found such strength in your rebirth, Phoenix. That you were talking about the ashes and finding the jewels there. Timey, so many tribulations, Ira Phoenix. Wishing you more energy and resilience to pass through these challenging times. Francis, I appreciate your strength, Ira Phoenix, in the way you honor and are true to yourself. And Nimi said that must have
Thank
been
you.
terrifying, and Lloyd says it was horrible. What a journey, Phoenix. Inspiring
Thank
to
you.
hear about the positive parts you've utilized to rise and fly. That must have been
Yes.
confusing for a small child. If there was a way to hug you, Phoenix, right now, I would. That's from Jules.
Thank you.
I
But
mean,
that would make me cry, and then that would not be good. So
all crying is
give me
okay.
a hug later.
We have had tears on this where myself and my guest have been crying.
Okay.
So,
Well, so yeah, but that was it was that actually came back to me recently as I was going through the Bardic grade for the second time. Um,
yeah,
and that whole scene with the Holy Spirit, when I was closing my journey through air, it came back to me in such a healing way. And I actually posted about it on the hearth. But I saw these like tongues of flame, and um, it's like it was like very clear messaging that it didn't come from outside you; it was always there inside you. And you can't speak with the tongues of men and angels, but you can speak with your tongue
that's
and
right.
the tongues of the elements. And, so it was a very, very healing experience. And Druidry has really saved my life and my sanity more than once.
Wow.
Um, I guess the second big thing that happened, I was about 8, so second grade, and my best friend had just immigrated from Japan. We're actually still friends now, half a century
Oh,
later. So we were still, back then, we were still close enough to World War II that there was still she still got bullied for being
yeah.
Japanese. Um, and one winter day, there had been a big snowfall while we were in school, and we were so excited to walk home in the new snow. And some fifth grade boys came up behind us, and they pushed me aside. So I fell in the snow and I started crying. And they brought this huge, massive chunk of ice and snow down on Kyoko's head. And she just collapsed. And I was crying, and she didn't make a sound because her face was full of snow. And when she could breathe, she screamed. And when she screamed, I literally saw red. I can still remember every detail. I stopped crying, I got really quiet, and I saw red. I lost my temper completely. And I thought it was the demon inside me coming out. And um, I just lost my temper and I attacked the boys. I got up and I jumped on the closest boy's back and like dropped my weight with my hands in his hair. And then I grabbed the glasses off the next one and I wanted to stab him in the ear with it. And I just was furious. And nothing like that had happened to me before. Um, so we were where this happened was in front of a mechanic's garage, and they had a dog who had recently had puppies. So we stopped there a lot on our way to and from school to pet the dogs and talk to the mechanics. And they actually saved us. They pulled me off of the boys, and that's very lucky for me because those boys could easily have put me in the hospital. Um, and they kept us at the garage, and they kind of mocked the boys and sent them on their way. You pick on a couple little girls and then one of them beats you down. How do you feel now? So um, they were very wise though, and they kept us until the boys were gone and we were calmed down. And then we went home, and I thought, okay, I really do have a demon inside me. But then I started thinking, okay, but maybe it's not an evil demon because it protected Kyoko. So it was a very confusing time for me. Um, but I started to feel a little bit better. Um, but like I had to hide all of these things from my parents. Um,
It just struck me when you were making up the so-called tongues.
mhm.
Um, I bet you lots of people did that.
Yeah, I'm sure,
And I mean,
because
when
you've
you have
got so much
schools
pressure.
and you've lots of it breeds hypocrisy.
It
Um,
does.
so you were very ingenious and inventive to have done that. Talk about a survival strategy. Well done. And
Thank
well
you.
done on becoming a cat or a wild animal, which you did jumping up um, on the back of that boy
Yeah,
and lashing out. Well done. You're
thank
feisty
you.
and keep it up. And yeah, seeing red and the fire, and it's interesting with you're sharing the jewels that were already there before the fire.
Oh my
Just
goodness, I didn't think of it that way. Wow,
yeah,
thank
wow.
you.
That is just that is just so beautiful. Sean, who's a druid and a bishop, he's a very holy man, and he says,
Mm,
if God is love, then anything that acts against love is sin. The sin isn't committed by you that day. I'm sorry you had to experience that.
thank you. Thank you, Sean.
Oh, and James Russell says, enough people to it. That when I was Christian, I had a term for it, chicken clucking.
Yes, that's a good term for it.
And Nimi says they couldn't keep your spirit down. And that's exactly it. And it's really interesting, as children, if we experience injustice or abuse or fundamentalism of whatever kind, and that there's some spirit. And fortunately for you, yours wasn't destroyed. That it always stayed in there. That 5-year-old you
Mm,
had a crazy wisdom and knew exactly how to deal with it.
yeah,
Which
and
is, I'm going to play the game and I'm going to do whatever I need to do to survive here.
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
mean, the idea of being exercised and whatever, either praying or beating, whatever, how they get rid of the demon in you is bloody scary.
Oh, I would have done anything not to have that happen. So, yeah, it was pure survival instinct. And then I had a load of guilt to carry after that
Yeah,
because I was constantly lying to my parents and I knew it. So that was really difficult. And I think that part of that seeing red, it was just suppressing all these,
yeah.
lying to my parents and suppressing my feelings even at such a young age. And then, they finally came out in quite an explosion.
You can't keep a lid on stuff.
Yeah.
Eventually, it either leaks out slowly or it explodes, but the pressure does give way. And actually,
Yeah.
it was a very well use of your built up pressure to save
Yeah.
Kyoko.
Yeah, actually it was. So, but thank goodness for those mechanics at the garage. It's a good thing they were there. Um,
It restores your faith in human nature,
yeah,
you know.
yeah, they were great. And they were always nice. They always let us pet the dog and, see the puppies and stuff. So they were good guys.
They say, because I'm a psychologist, and now a retired one, thank goodness. But yeah, for children who've had come from abusive backgrounds, whatever the abuse is, if they've had one adult who was kind to them or liked them or
Yeah.
defended them or helped them in some way or protected them, one, that's
Yeah.
all they need. That actually is the anchor or that lifeline that helps them, you know, emerge into adulthood not completely damaged. And you
Yes.
had it in those mechanics, which is beautiful.
Yes. And fortunately, I had a lot of those kind adults. Kyoko's parents were actually they sort of stood in for mine in some
Lovely.
important ways. They were very kind, and every time Kyoko's dad went back to Japan, he'd come back and bring me Hello Kitty stuff, and it was just I was one of the family, and I think that's partly why, I have a strong connection still to Japanese culture, and Shinto, which to me, Shinto is very much like a twin sister to Druidry, and there's a lot of, commonalities between them. The animism, for one, of course, but other things as well,
I
and,
want to come back to that. I just want to respond because there's some comments here, but I want to come back to that Shinto.
mhm,
Um, So James says, I know you know too well, but the shame wasn't yours, it was theirs. Nimi said they tried to break you down so they can manipulate you. Being a good girl is such a loaded phrase. And
Yeah.
Karasu, I was the kid who was told they were making Jesus sad all the time. Leaving
Oh,
Christianity has been
yeah.
the best thing I've done for my mental health. And
Hmm.
that is a huge abuse of Christianity. For
Yeah.
many, Christianity is a beautiful spiritual path, a beautiful religion. It's the abuse
Yes.
and how it's abused and used is the awful thing.
Yeah, it
Francis,
has. Sorry.
go on.
Oh, I was just going to say Christianity has a lot of beautiful truth in it, and scripture does too. I studied it under a Jewish scholar, actually, and he taught me midrash, Talmudic midrash, to interpret scripture symbolically and with allegory and symbolism. And that was such a rich vein of knowledge and wisdom from the Bible. So I can appreciate that at this point, but I have a very hard time with Christian stuff and I love a lot of Christian people, but it's like when you have food forced down your throat, you
You don't like
gag
it
as
anymore.
soon as you
Yeah,
yeah, that's my
it,
reaction to Christianity. I find it very hard to go into a church, even for a wedding or a funeral. It's like just not my thing anymore. And I think next lifetime I'll be fine, but not this one.
so Francis says, your story reminds me of the shaman's initiation in childhood by these malign forces, which when overcome can be seen as initiations into powerful healing work and the true powers to help heal others. I don't think that's what you experienced.
Mm,
No. Anyway, listen, have you been to Japan?
I've not yet.
Oh, my goodness, you need to go. If when the culture calls to you so much, you have such an affinity with it. So, okay, explain to our viewers what Shintoism and where Shinto meets. I don't know what's Shintoism, but Shinto meets Druidry. I mean, I'm
Mhm.
curious about this.
Okay. So, well, I am married to a Japanese man now for it'll be 12 years this Samhain, and
Lovely.
his his parents died in his when he was in his late teens, early 20s. So we have our family shrine, and his parents have come to me for Samhain and also for Obon. Um, Obon is a great example of the parallels with Shinto in Druidry
It's
because Obon is the festival that is right after Lughnasadh. This year it was on August 13th to 16th, and it's
right.
their Samhain, basically. It's when the ancestors come back home
Okay.
and they have meals with them and they, reminisce. And it's very similar to our Samhain. And then at the end of Obon, they have this absolutely gorgeous ceremony, Toron Nagashi, on the rivers, and they have this beautiful ceremony in Kyoto, especially where they put they light the ancestors back to the other world by putting
Mm.
lanterns on the river with written messages on them to the gods and to the ancestors. So it's a really beautiful thing. I just had a vision of it in August. Actually, my mother-in-law came to me
Oh,
as a crane, and she's done that before. So it
yeah.
was very interesting. I posted about it in the Oak and Lotus Circle and on the
Okay.
Hearth.
Oh, that is so beautiful. Lovely to have those two. And is he interested in Druidry?
No, he's actually not spiritual whatsoever.
Okay.
He's not interested. Once in a while, he'll express a little bit of interest. He's very much a musical person. He loves guitars. He loves music, and actually, that's part of why we got married because he loves Celtic folk music, and so he listened to that. And then we met because we both liked the Celtic folk music and brought us together. Plus my
Beautiful.
affinity with Japan and all things Japanese. So
Beautiful. And you've got children. Do you and he have
3.
children, or it's from your
No,
first
it's from my Christian marriage, my first marriage,
three?
and yeah, 3 children. I I did end up leaving their dad because he attacked our oldest child for standing up for me because she overheard us arguing when I was, coming out as a pagan and saying, I do not accept this. This is abusive, and I'm not going to do this to our children. And she overheard that and tried to defend me. He physically attacked her, and that's when my fury came out again and was like, you're not doing that. And I took the kids and left. Actually, the kids gave me the strength to do it because they were like, we've been waiting for you to leave. And
Yeah.
so I was trying to keep everything together for their sake. And they're like, will you hurry up and leave? And so I did leave, and it was very scary because I lost all my friends, all my support system. The shunning began immediately, pretty much. And no family support, nothing. And I didn't have an education because I was raised to be a broodmare and have lots of white Christian children. So I didn't have anything. And I had to start. That was the Phoenix experience. Just everything burned to the ground that I had built as a life. And I was alone with these kids, no way to support them. It was terrifying. And then I found Obad and joined my first seed group. And
Well, wait a second. That's too big a jump. I'm
I I know it's very disjointed, but there's too
no,
much.
no. I'm just blown away. So, how old were your children when you left your husband?
My oldest was 13 and my youngest was 5 or 6.
And all of those were young enough. They were old enough, alert enough. Well, of course, you were 5 and on the button, and I'm sure your 5 or 6 year old was the same. Uh,
Mhm.
so, okay, you leave, and did you stay in New York or did you move?
No, actually, I had moved around quite a bit geographically. My older 2 kids were born in Colorado,
Okay.
the Poudre Valley. I love Colorado. The Rocky Mountains have this stark, rugged beauty that's different from anything I'd experienced anywhere else. But so they were born there, and then my first husband's parents were pretty wealthy, and they live in near Philadelphia, in Pennsylvania. So we lived in Pennsylvania, and that's where the East Coast Gathering
Yes.
is, very close to there. So I was actually there at the very first East Coast Gathering as a baby druid, and yeah,
So you had
sorry,
no money, you had no way of working, and no earning. So what did you do? You left. This is what I'm interested. You leave the house, you leave everything, you lose your
yeah.
friends, your sports, everything, and then what's the first thing you did? How did you get a job, or what kind of a job did you do, and how did you find a place to live?
Well, I found a place to live through a friend that didn't shun me immediately. She took a month or two, then she shunned me. So she actually knew a landlord that was very kind, and the landlord had a police officer nephew, and he actually kept my ex-husband away from the house. I had to get a restraining order, and all of this ugly stuff happened. Um, but I went to a temp agency, and I just did temp work until I could go to nursing school. And then the school loans and stuff and temp work supported us while I went to school. And I don't know how I had the energy to do it. I certainly don't now. So good thing I was young.
Wow. Wow. I mean, you've incredible resilience. I mean, comment, so proud of you, Ira. What a story. You're so courageous. Very brave of you to do this. And
Hmm. Thank
Sue says
you.
children are way more intelligent and understanding than what we realize. Of course they are. Yeah.
Yes,
Wow.
yes, they are a lot stronger too. And if I can go back to childhood for a minute,
Hmm.
the probably the worst thing that happened to me in that abusive cult was I was 11 and a deacon, a grown man in that church, sexually assaulted me. And my mom found my bloody clothes in the trash and she took me to the pastor. The pastor made me reenact what happened. And then he said that it was my fault because I had seduced a man of God.
Oh, cripes.
I was 11. I hadn't even hit puberty. I did not know what seduction was. I thought it had something to do with the vacuum cleaner section. I had no idea. So this was insane. Um, but my parents capitulated to that instead of protecting me. And
What a
that,
betrayal.
yeah, it was a complete betrayal. That's really why I'm estranged from them at this point, because a lot of people were like, well, you'll understand what your parents do when you have your own kids. You'll understand them better.
Ah,
And then I had my kids, and I was like, if anybody touched my child like that, I would fuck up their entire world. There is no way I would let that happen to my child. So when I was a mother, it actually made me go, wait a fucking minute. You guys are not fit to be anyone's parents.
well,
So,
there's lots of horror expressed here for your story. Lloyd says, I'm in tears. Helen, I'm full of love and admiration for you. Terrifying that they couldn't protect you. I mean, it is. I mean, we've had similar, young women getting pregnant by either fathers or a priest or some powerful man, and it's always her fault. I mean, horrendous.
yes,
Uh,
yes.
I mean,
There is a very strong vein of misogyny in these evangelical fundamentalist toxic brands of Christianity, and they just hate women and they're afraid of women, and it comes out in the way that they treat women and girls, and that is the commonality they have. This Christo-fascism, that's what it has in common with Donald Trump.
crystal fascism. Oh,
Christo-fascism.
crystal. I heard crystal. Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Jules says, I'm horrified by this betrayal. I admire your strength of spirit, and you are one hell of a woman. Thank you for expanding on your
You.
story. It's very helpful to hear. I can relate to pieces of this. It's very challenging navigating life estranged from family when single mothering. Oh, absolutely. And
Yes.
Nina says they make us wear their guilt. They're monsters. So,
Well,
and
they are
Carol, go on.
they do monstrous things, but they are not monsters. They are like us. And all of us have a monster inside, potentially. We don't know what we'll do in, faced with these situations until we're in them. And like I said, I do believe that my parents did the best they could at the time, but their best sucked. So I believe that forgiveness is a gift. And the way that toxic Christianity makes it an obligation, you have to forgive. You owe them forgiveness, because if you don't forgive, you're torturing Christ on the cross. And I just do not believe that forgiveness should be an obligation. It is a gift, and then when you get it, it's that much more precious, because they are not obligated to forgive you. So it's not that I don't want to think of them as monstrous, because it dehumanizes them. And it's important, especially in times like these, that we don't dehumanize anyone. We are all capable of monstrous things in the wrong situation.
You're so right. What wisdom you're sharing. And I knew as I read it out, I thought, ooh, let's see where this is going to go. And of course, you responded. And they're also traumatized and brainwashed by what they
Yes,
heard, and they
yes,
pass that on. And Nimi says that's the frightening thing. They're normal men. We
mhm,
are all.
yes,
There is a demon in all of. I don't mean demon as in Satan, but
right.
there's a capacity for bad and for good in all of us, and give us the right circumstances. I've always been aware
Yes,
of that. Um, I haven't been pushed. So, and also, and I agree with you, James, forgiveness is the gift you give yourself, not them. And I came across this notion of forgiveness years ago by a Puerto Rican psychologist called Mario Martinez, talking about forgiveness is no longer letting the hurtful deed, have a hold on you. It's
hmm
not saying it was me that did it, but it no longer has the power to hurt me. I'm letting that go, cutting that tie. Um, and so that you can move on, because I think many people who've been hurt hold on to their victimhood and keep it and pick at it like a sore. and
Right.
often can identify with
Never
it, and then
heals.
circles and never heal. And to
Right.
be able to, because it's again, it's about this forgiveness is for you, not for them.
Right.
Uh,
And I think this is part of how we need to have common definitions for language. And too often we'll use words that mean something different to everyone. And forgiveness in the context of toxic Christianity is not what you just said. It
yeah,
is an obligation. It is you must forgive or you are hurting Jesus, and it is this guilt-laden um, thing that isn't what you just said, which is real forgiveness. So it's such a shame that we have to redefine so many things when we talk to people. Sorry.
it's funny if Jesus is the Son of God, all knowing, all powerful. Uh, Hurting Jesus is slapping him in the face. It means God, he's an absolute wimp. You know,
Yes.
you know what?
You're hurting Jesus's feelings. Your F-bomb hurt his feelings.
Not at all. He's far more robust than that. It's that kind of thing. It's like,
Yeah.
come on, get over it.
Mhm.
Because any of us can get over a swear word, or a bout of anger or whatever. We're not all that fragile. And if you're talking about divinity and deity, I don't think so. But uh, so Aphrodite said, this year I wrote down the good memories about my parents in earlier life. It was hard, but I'm more happy now. And
Hmm.
Anita, an amazing woman, so brave, so open about her journey, an inspirational mama bear. That's you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
It's just I'm blown away by your incredible strength, and whatever that
I don't
fire.
feel that strong. It does not feel like I don't feel that strong.
Strength doesn't feel like it. You're incredibly courageous, but courageous people are scared.
Yes.
If you weren't scared, then you're not courageous because you're not called on to be brave or courageous if you're not scared.
Yeah.
I'm
And
sitting here and I'm not courageous because I'm not under any threat. It's when you are scared and you're doing it anyway, and that
yeah.
that that fire in you, uh,
Yeah.
to make it up, play their game to survive, clever,
Yeah.
seeing red, fighting it, and leaving and protecting your children and breaking what you've done. And this is where that incredible strength is within you. You broke a family pattern.
Mm. Yes. Oh my goodness. I didn't think of it that way.
You haven't passed that on to your kids.
Yeah.
Well done. Because when we look at trauma that goes down through generations, and it continues, and the trauma manifests maybe in different forms, but
Mhm.
that's what it is, and you've broken that.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't say that I didn't traumatize my kids at all because we all make bad mistakes as parents.
Oh,
And
welcome to the club.
yeah, yeah, I have made bad mistakes. Um, so, and I have told my kids, I am so sorry for the stuff that I did, that was damaging and I never intended to. And, if you can't forgive me, I understand, but I'll be here if you want to talk about it or anything. So I think it helps to be humble as a parent and, acknowledge that you fuck up and you do wrong things too. And my parents would never say sorry to me,
You
which
know.
was part of the problem. So
And how old are your children now?
my oldest is 31 and my youngest is 25.
And what's your relationship like with them now?
My oldest stays in pretty good close contact. She's studying. Um, uh, I can't believe I forgot what she's studying. This is the 51 years old. This is where it comes. Swiss cheese brain. My daughter. Two of my kids are LGBTQ plus. Um, and she is doing very well. She's working. She's with my ex in-laws, and she has Crohn's disease. So
Oh, bless her.
I almost lost her um, to complications of Crohn's in 2015, I believe it was. Yeah, 2015. So she had a septic infection from a burst in her intestine, and it was very, very scary. That was probably the worst time in my life. She was in the intensive care unit, and she was open from her sternum down to her pubis, just open wound because they couldn't close her for weeks. And that was where Druidry really helped me, because I was able to actually help with changing the wound dressings, help the surgeons, and use my nursing knowledge, to help. But then I would fall apart later. And she had ICU psychosis, where you hallucinate and you get all of these crazy ideas that everybody's out to get you. And she would ask me to sing to her favorite song to the moon goddess, and I would help her meditate. So I was very glad that I was able to balance the being her mother with also being a nurse, with also being, spiritually there for her. And she said she wanted to die one day, and that 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 was the worst moment of my life. She's fine now. She's fine. I'm fine. She's fine. We're all fine.
Wow. So that's 10 years ago. Wow. Is it 10 years ago?
Yeah. Sorry.
Wow. No. Tears are acceptable as well as swear words. All of it is acceptable. Fables, I'm so glad you had your druidic path to help you. What
Oh my.
what specifically about druidry do you think helped you?
I mean, everything. At that point, when this happened, I had been through the Bardic grade once, and I was maybe about halfway through the Ovate grade. So I had traveled through the elements once, and also done the shadow work once, and I was getting to know plants and the inner world better. So I had a place to retreat to, a sanctuary inside the inner grove. And at this point, it's an inner world. There are paths leading out of it to the groves where we all meet together, and all kinds of things I never suspected existed. So at that point, I had this sanctuary I could go to, and from anywhere. I could do that from the ICU. I could do that from the waiting room. I could, anywhere. I could just take a minute and go to the inner grove, see if there was a guide who had something to say. Sometimes there was, sometimes not. And that really saved me, as well as the just feeling more grounded. And my my druid friend actually came in and took me outside, every now and then, so I could go and be with nature and recenter myself in the outer world as well as the inner world. So it was winter, so the snow was melting, and we went outside, and that really saved my sanity during that time. Does that answer?
Wow. Absolutely. I mean, we're very, very lucky to have those resources to help us
Yes.
in times of need. And it's so beautiful that you can remember to use them and to utilize them, and that she needed you as her spiritual support at that time as well. I mean, it must have been hell going through that the ICU psychosis and all of that. I mean,
That was the worst. It was the worst thing I've ever been through. And that's kind of saying something, I think.
and so you said she's LGBT.
Oh, yes.
LGBT,
Yeah.
and she's living with your ex-in-laws. So how do they accept her?
Oh, my ex-in-laws are beautiful, wonderful people. They are non-practicing Catholics. They're not anything to do with the cult. It's just their one child, the one that
Ah,
I married. He's the only one that has this evangelical Christian psychosis thing happening. I don't know why. I don't know where if I could have switched, if I could have given him my parents and taken his parents, I would have loved to do that. But unfortunately, it does not work that way.
okay. Well, it's lovely then that your children have grandparents, that at least one set of grandparents
Yes. Yeah.
that are caring, and they
And
can have a
I
relationship
don't
with.
worry about them that way too, because they have a lot more, financial resources than I do. So,
Wow, brilliant.
yeah.
So you were mentioning the Bardic grade. How many times have you done it now?
I'm on my second time and I am about three-quarters done. So then I
Okay,
can,
so you're a
yeah,
poet.
I am, yes.
Okay,
Well, I
so
mean, that's kind of pretentious if I say that, but yeah, I do write poetry. Um, okay.
would you like to share some?
Sorry, yes, I was actually looking for it because I saved it in my thing so I would have it. Okay, my folders. Technology and me are kind of iffy. I'm trying to get along with my tech more now. Um, but I'm like that. If you watch The Twilight Zone, there was that one episode with a guy and his appliances all conspired to drive him crazy. That's me. Okay, I found it.
Great.
So this is called Lady Liberty, and I actually wrote it July 4th of last year, so right before the election.
Mhm.
And I was watching the fireworks and wondering, is this our last real Independence Day? And unfortunately, it was slightly prescient. Sorry, let me drink some water. The night stands intrepid, her beauty cold and pitiless, her formal dress of black, diamond-studded velvet, her light a blade of silver ice. She watches, impassive observer, as ships full of slumbering sailors pass beyond safe borders. Here be monsters, cry out silent maps to all their dreaming helmsmen. She holds a diamond in her eye to better watch each sailor's choice, to swallow whole a burning coal, to choke down smoldering embers, from which the vital belly fires may in desperate need be relit, or to turn aside the light and heat, preferring forever the cool waters of Lethe, drifting off to soothing death, her scythe tapping gentle notes of loss, of thieves come in the night to steal even our very breath. Should we sell our souls for lying dreams of unearned liberty, of peace without a price, lulling us never to think of cost or of consequence? And we look, but not to see. We look to be deceived, with not one eye between us, blinder than the fates and crueler, knowing not that while we dream, Lady Liberty falters in her harbor, betrayed by apathy. Her arms once wide and welcome to all who sought relief from monstrous weight of burdens wrought by kings and stolen crowns, whose voice once cried out welcome to those who never heard it elsewhere, to huddled masses yearning to breathe free, now hunched, forlorn, forsaken, for alluring bliss of ignorance. Sadly, she asks as I pass, did I truly prove so lacking love as to make Sheol a beauty, that painted whore whose bed is ashes, that self-made widow beckoned us and lured us in with glamorous promise, with bright shadowed lies, hiding knives within whispers. We embraced her, celebrating ignorance, wedding our souls to the widow who murders her lovers all. Will we, as others before, only wake when all is lost? Liberty's corpse, our albatross, dangling its weight from exhausted necks of fools who chose re-enslavement, who turned deaf ears to her cries, assuming someone else would answer, would guard our treasures for us, as if Fox ever lived who could be trusted to guard the hens from danger. Will we sign over the deed to our home? Will we toss our treasure to covetous thieves already bursting from excess? Will we ignore clarion calls of justice and exchange a moment's pleasure for a lifetime of stumbling despair? Lost my place. We squint in the bright light of liberty's torch, protesting fatigue, making our bed in her grave, only discovering too late our broken nation's broken heart has finally ceased to beat. And our hearts now, once her treasure, have become her tomb.
Oh my goodness. That is so, so powerful. Wow.
It's a hard thing to watch your country fall.
You had
And
that line about knives in the. You had one line about knives in the
hiding knives within whispers.
hiding knives. I thought, oh my God, what a powerful image. Hiding knives within whispers.
I
Wow.
saw it very clearly in my mind's eye when I was writing it. So,
Well,
yeah.
sorry, I'm just going to, you need to read these. So, Dear Phoenix, never doubt you are a poet because it comes from the heart. That's from Philip. Oh, yes, Sarah, how sorrowfully true, beautifully wrought, ashes blown away before we even notice. That's Mimi. Wow. Profound, so many tears falling here, so much imagery. You are gifted, blown away by that. You can dispense with the notion that somehow you're not a poet. That is pretentious of you to, and that, or that it's pretentious of you to say so. So,
Thank you, guys.
I mean, our viewers are really kind, but they're genuine. I mean,
they are very kind. Yes.
That is yeah. I can't say any more. It's just really, really powerful. And you're also. Are you writing a book?
I am
Or you
writing a book. Yes.
What's the book about?
It is. It's big. And it's basically 3 different timelines. I'm taking a lot from this lifetime and fictionalizing it. So that's one lifetime. Then there's one from, in my first C group, I met people who turned out to be sisters from a past life, and they had memories that I shared from this past life. And I didn't even believe in past lives at that point. When I first joined OBOT, I didn't know anything about anything. But they had these memories, and I was like, I've seen that same thing in dreams and like stuff. And it turned out to be these memories. So I'm writing that timeline, which was the 1680s. And then there was an origins timeline from way back, like 5,000 years ago or so, about first embodying the physical and learning the lessons that Earth has to teach us. Because I do believe that Earth is a classroom, and we're here to learn certain lessons as souls. And one of them is balance. Big one is balance. So that's what the book is about. And then it's narrated by basically a narrator who's guiding through the inner world. And I'm basing it on my inner world, but I think everyone has, something similar that they can relate to. So I shared a part of it, an excerpt from the first chapter on the hearth a while ago. And
Is it a novel or?
It's fiction, yeah, because
Okay. So, Fable says that sounds like it's going to be an epic book. Nimi says, fantastic, itching to read your words. And Aphrodite, which is lovely. Earth is a classroom, brilliant. What a truly amazing soul you are, full of admiration for you. That's from Helen.
Oh,
Wow,
thank
that
you.
sounds wonderful. It was brilliant. Nimi must have read it. It's a classroom. Yes, you're right.
Mm, thank
So,
you.
well, let me know as soon as it's published.
I will. Um, there's one more thing before, I know we're, oh my gosh,
No,
is
no, no,
time up?
no. I'm in charge of the time. So go
Oh,
on.
okay. Okay. Um, okay. So, yeah. Um, there's so much. Wow. So, as what's happening here right now is terrifying for, and not just in the US, but it's a greater trend, that we've seen. And as Druids, we understand the cyclical shape of time and the spiral of it. That, the seasons, of course, winter, spring, summer, fall, and they're always the same, yet each year is different.
Mhm.
Days are cycles, dawn, day, dusk, night, always the same, but always different. History is the same, it's just a bigger cycle. And we saw this same, what we're seeing in the US right now, this religious zeal married to political power. And we saw that in the Dark Ages,
Yeah.
with the pogroms and the inquisitions in Europe, the witch burnings that your guest last week spoke of so
Yes.
eloquently. And we have Salem, Massachusetts. That's still a notorious town for the burnings of witches under Cotton Mather and the Puritans. So the way that they do it, they take this quote. It's a beautiful quote from Jesus in Mark 8:36. Everybody probably knows it. What does it profit a man if he should gain the whole world but lose his own soul? Right?
Yeah.
And they take that and they twist it together with their doctrine of original sin, which basically says we're all born evil. We're all born with the sin of Adam and Eve, and we're born corrupt. So we deserve, even babies deserve to go to hell for eternity, unless we accept salvation through Christ's death on behalf of sinners and then his resurrection, which was proof that God accepted his sacrifice for all true believers. And that true believers part is where Christianity starts to get sticky and ugly. There's a lot of beauty in it, but when it marries political power, it becomes exclusive, and true believers are the only ones that are accepted. Then that's the root of their poisonous tree. And the zealots truly believe that suffering leads to salvation. And so the more suffering they cause, the more souls they'll save, is how they see it. They can beat the hell out of you with tears streaming down their face and still believe they're doing the right thing. That is what's so terrifying about them. And, you saw it with the torture of the Inquisitions and
Mhm.
the burning of witches alive so that the fire would purify them. They believe suffering purifies. And so the guys out front, the endless clown card shit carnival in your face all the time with Donald Trump and his drunken Fox News cabinet, that's just the front man that they needed, because none of them are electable. None of them will ever be popular enough to win a vote. So they needed the cult of Trump to get into power, and now they're consolidating that power, and they do not plan to leave office. Um, they're just using the people out front, the clowns and the egos, and the zealots and the billionaires are the dangerous ones. Um, so and the Supreme Court has already given the president total immunity for anything he does in office as an official act. Both houses of Congress the Republicans are in power, and they have ceded all of their power to the executive branch. So this is the consolidation that we're seeing right now. And so many people here are still like, oh, America will never fall to fascism. It already has. And what on the hearth just recently. Ever since I became a druid, I've been wanting to be part of a druid community, and an intentional community. Have like an eco village where we live sustainably and we do permaculture, and we have enough space for rescued animals, and we can offer retreat space and stuff like this. So I've always been looking for it, and several times I thought I found it, but it always fell apart. And that's okay, because I know that the right thing won't fall apart.
Mhm.
And just recently, um, on the hearth, there was the Wild Druid Circle, and I joined that circle. And the first meeting I went to was, I believe it was Lunasat, and they spoke about intentional community. So then I got so excited, because I was like, this is it's finally right. So we've just barely started. We've had 2 meetings, with a third coming up soon, and we're planning to work on a vision statement together, so we can tell others what we're about in 20 to 40 words. I'm pretty much the secretary, because I volunteered to transcribe all the notes. Um, and we're still a very far way from actually buying land and stuff,
Mhm.
but we have this vision for providing a sanctuary, and they've actually been dreaming of it separately, to me, for as long as I have. And
Oh,
something like the East Coast gathering, we would like to have that on the West Coast, and the Gulf Coast has a gathering as well.
right,
So
then,
we'd
yeah.
love, yeah, we'd love to do that on the West Coast, in the Pacific. Um, and actually, very interestingly, um, could it be synchronicity? We found an article about the world famous treehouse, up near the South Fork of the Eel River, in Northern California. It's a giant
Uh-huh.
redwood. It was struck by lightning about 300 years ago, and it was hollowed out by the fire. And it recovered, because redwoods are incredibly resilient. They have so much to teach about healing. And this tree is about 4,000 years old. It's about 250 feet tall, with a big room inside where the fire hollowed it out. And the hollow goes up about 50 feet inside the tree. So the floor is actually built to let the roots push up and keep growing, because it's still alive, it's still growing. And this place is just recently for sale by the owner, who is a widow who wants to hand it off to the right people and retires. So she loves this tree. She calls it magical. She knows that it's magic. She loves it, but she has to keep it closed most of the time. She's with her family, and she has a life apart from it. So this property has 11 cabins, 11 acres. It's a dream. It's got river access, possibly. Um, and it's the price is $1 million, and that's astronomical. So we're thinking it's may not be the right thing, but it might be. And here in California, 1 million is very reasonable for that
Yeah.
amount of land and that amount of buildings. Here near me, in LA County, a tiny little house with like a postage stamp yard will sell for at least $750,000.
Okay.
It's crazy expensive here. So $1 million for sacred ancient trees that we can protect from clear cutting, from fracking, from drilling, um, that's a dream come true. And it's not a
Yeah.
lot. So we're hoping that people will join us, and that we'll be able to, we think we might be able to, maybe pull together a down payment or something, but without help, it's an impossible task. So we are hoping that people will join us. And if you would like to be part of the Wild Druids and see what we're about, we join the Circle on the Hearth. You can also contact me through email.
Brilliant. So it's called the Wild Druid Circle on the Hearth. Okay, brilliant.
Yes. Yes, and that's the dream for the future. I actually had a vision recently with I when I was meditating about this and whether it was
Mhm.
right or not, and and meditating about mentioning it here because I wasn't sure if I should. And we did some divination, and I had this vision of Taranis came to me, the storm god, and he showed me a hillside that was being tossed by this violent hurricane. And he said, here is a true peace. And I immediately was sarcastic, like, oh, yeah, some gods are very cavalier about how they talk to us mortals. Thanks a lot. And then he was like, shut up and just look closer. So I did. And I saw there was a blackthorn tree, and it was partially hidden in the curve of a rock face. And in the blackthorn tree, surrounded by the long, sharp, wicked thorns those trees have, there was a nest, and there was a wren in the nest, and the wren was covering her young. But her young, it wasn't normal bird eggs. It was all these weird shapes, sizes of eggs, and there were lizards and farm animals and humans in there too, all of them sleeping and dry. And then I understood why he said it was a true peace. And he said, you're the eye of the storm. You're the eye of the storm. And not me, obviously, but Obad as a whole, I believe, is the eye of the storm because the wren represents druids and also the wild druids on a smaller scale here in the US. I think that we are meant to provide a sanctuary here in California, which is safer than most other places at this point.
There's so much hope in that, Ira. That is absolutely beautiful. And I wish you, who knows where money will come from,
Yeah.
to support you in this. Just incredible. Just as Karen, I just wanted to put this up on the screen. Thank you, Phoenix, for your trust and vulnerability in sharing. You are making a beautiful and profound difference. And I think hold on to that because and there's many more comments I just want to put in. And Fable said, love the excerpt that you shared on the hearth.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, okay. The fire phoenix, it burns away the detritus and metaphorically sets us free to be reborn. Okay. Sorry, I'll hide that one. Yeah, there's lots of comments.
Sorry, my mouth just went.
No. This is why we have these conversations. Con wants to know, can we crowdfund for you? So.
Oh my gosh, that would be amazing.
Wonderful. This is destiny for sure. And is it okay to join that circle if we're not in CA? In California?
Of course. Yeah, it's, mostly based in California, but we have people join us from everywhere. Please join us. We'd love to have you.
And Francisco, the Wild Druids have conducted ritual via Zoom and in person since the start of COVID, and we have people from New Mexico, Utah, etc. Okay. So, Crassus says, I'm in Indiana. It's extremely unsafe. I'm so sorry to hear that. So my heart goes out to anybody who's living in places where it's not. And the Wild Druids, people in Australia are on that virtual group as well. So it's like I used to say, don't let fear and lack of money stop you from doing what you want to do. I mean, it sounds a bit funny, but I know people who have, had no money and somehow needed 10,000 euro for something. And then suddenly say, no, I need this, but I have no money. And then somebody hands them the exact amount. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
If you don't put it out there, nobody knows,
Right.
So
right. Thank you for letting me share that.
Not at all. And you know what? It's been such a joy talking to you, Ira. I had no idea about your backstory. So that's I'm blown away by it.
Thank you for inviting me. I was so surprised when you were interested in talking to me. I was like, why? So
well, the thing is, when I started doing these 5 years ago, it's 5 years I'm doing them now. It was to chat to ordinary members of the order, and the extraordinary stories that people have to tell. And selfishly, I get to know people, even people I would have known from gatherings. I have a conversation,
Yeah.
I get to know them better. So I've never met you, and hopefully I will. And
I
it's
hope
just been,
so.
just, the Wild Druids actually had an entire cabin full of people at ECG a number of years ago. So,
Nice. I wasn't there, sadly.
and Chan 777s are Channy. I also need a Circle C Group Grove because there's nothing in Houston, Texas.
Mm.
Go on the Hearts. You may find, because of the long distances in the US and because of safety and all of that, virtual C groups, create them, reach out. Uh, Phoenix, calcination
And
can be
virtual,
painful, but you've
yeah,
risen
I
above
was,
pain, and you're an example for us all, says Jules.
sorry,
You
you
are
broke
an
up a little
example.
bit. What
She
was that?
said pain,
Oh,
Jules said, you're an example. I think she says
oh,
calcination. I don't know. It can be painful, but you've risen above pain, and you are an example for us all.
thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.
So I will say goodnight to you. I'll let you say goodnight to people. And thank you so much for being my guest. I've really, really enjoyed this chat. So I'll let you say goodnight. Well, sorry, it's nighttime here, but it's what,
Yeah, well,
1 o'clock or
thank
2 o'clock
you.
where we were.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much, everybody, for your kind comments and for putting up with my nerves and my blabbermouth. And thank you, Wild Druids, for letting me share our stuff. And I hope I said everything right. I don't know if I did. I usually don't. But anyway, thank you so much, and I love you all, and be safe out there.
So Chani says, I really hope you get this tree and land. If you don't get it first, I'm concerned that the opportunities are going to be disappearing. Anyway,
Yeah.
so lovely to have you share with us here, Ira. It's been so empowering to hear you speak. Love to you, Ira. You need not apologize for anything. Thank you, Ira. May many blessings on your journey. Thank you. Blessings both. So
Thank you.
I'm going to send you, don't go. I'll send you to the green room and I'll just say goodbye here. So thank you all for joining me this evening, this morning, midday, wherever you are in the world, or if you're watching a recording of this. Just wish you all the best until we meet again. I think of our storytelling around the hearth next Thursday, but see you in 2 weeks' time. And in the meantime, be well, slán go fóill, and may you continue to have peace in your own hearts and start with our beautiful peace prayer, starting within. And may we stand courageous for justice, beauty, peace, and for the love of all existences. So until we meet again, slán go fóill.